Hi, this is Mia. I was just in class for several hours, and I'm still sick, and I'm needing to go back to work, and I feel just as bad as I did when I went to the doctor last week, and I'm really concerned about my own health. I was told at work that I had to cancel several doctor's appointments due to injuries that I was going to due to injuries from an automobile accident, and my symptoms have gotten really bad. Even their insurance company had seen appointments for a couple weeks and have felt like they're done paying, and they demanded, get on your cell phone now and call your doctors. And then it was just at a medical facility, and then they said, and then the other two, go talk to the receptionist and cancel your appointments or reschedule. And those two, I said, they can't reschedule it. I can't cancel all of them. And this one wasn't any body work. It was just hydrotherapy. I was like, I did that before where they canceled on me and I couldn't reschedule for over a week, and I just felt so miserable. I cannot function. My hand is still numb, and and my other hand has been numb, both of my legs, and then just the regular backaches and neck ache. I feel like I need to wear the neck brace. Everyone said don't wear the neck brace right now, because you'll lose muscle in your neck. And I haven't even been able to get a hold of the chiropractor. She was very busy and very popular, and she doesn't have really assistants that can call. Some people, they have like someone office medical person who can call you. And I was a lot of just, I'm always taking care of my pets or animals sick. I've been sick. I was like, oh my gosh, what if my sickness got transferred to my animal, and that's why he's really sick right now. And I'm just need like a money miracle. I am just freaking out. I got all of the extra charges this month. The increased $100 of rent. I had a month of cut hours at work based on this craziness, and out sick. I don't have any sick hour. I have one sick. My symptoms worsened after an automobile accident when I was getting regular care. They were still persistent 100% of the day, sometimes worse than others, and different activity levels and stress levels would aggravate the symptoms, but I felt there was some improvement, or at least do what you think you can do by going to a doctor to get the proper help. Stuff. It's like I went to school, went in a lot of debt so that I could pay back loans and burn out my journal system, so I could help others do things they can't do for themselves. I haven't had one patient yet, so I feel like kind of gypped. I'm like, dear God, I think I messed up. My old church was like, oh, if you leave this church, you're going to be vulnerable for attacks. And I was like, oh no. Like, well, they told me not to go because I was a goody-goody. It was like, how could you go to church and be told to go somewhere else because you're too much of a goody-goody? No one wants to be your friend because you and your kids are smart and too well-behaved to be in church. So I'm kind of lost. It was like visiting other churches. I couldn't meet anyone. And it was like a bloodbath. Those pastors that talk about people fighting over parking spots and cussing each other out and giving the finger. And it wasn't like that bad, but it's like it feels like that, or giving you dirty looks because you're a different race than they are, and refusing for 40 minutes to talk to you about the kids you have that you're like somewhere unless it's are feeling welcome, and being denied children being entered into the night program, and you're like trying to get information and no one's telling you, and you're just like, I don't know, and being excluded from, it's like, oh, this is supposed to be a whole church activity, but then only certain people are being invited, or not going to advertise, and we're not going to give a phone number for you to talk to anyone about getting on a wait list for these classes. Let's just like, and it's like, oh, the classes, by the way, every time you get online, they're always full. Like, they fill up as soon as they open up the online thing. I just felt so, someone called a corporate church. There's several churches I was attending, a couple churches I was attending after I was told that we were too goody-goody to hang out with people at the other church, and I just felt like, this is so stupid to have even worse people that are supposedly sharing the same faith and trying to act like our scriptures. Supposedly you're saying that you're acting like the scriptures tell you to act, but it's like they're not, and I'm sick to my stomach for being treated poorly. And they always say, like, people that get divorced a lot and just different things. Oh, you're the common denominator. Maybe it's something wrong that you're doing, and it's like, if someone's being treated poorly or racist behavior or abuse, it could very well be one of these things. It could be one of those things where I already paid this bill. That's so crazy. It could be one of those things that you feel like you just chose the wrong place, or there's so much that it's deceit that someone, if they're naive or something, or they're desperate for some help, then they end up falling into this trap, and for me, it's just like, I've been having a really hard time with the fact that I am single and overwhelmed, and just kind of in that type of person who's just like, it's like the marathon that never ends. You're just like, go, go, go. You're like, can I stop? No. Go, go, go. Okay, stop. You're sick. You don't have any money. You're in a car accident. No one helps you. You're in a car accident. You can't even walk. Can't even stand up straight. And then people are like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you do this? Can you be my doctor for free? And then I won't show up to your visits, and da-da-da. And it's like, I usually have a lot of empathy, because some things that I complain about with other people, I end up doing to someone else. Not on purpose, just because I'm human and I make mistakes or forget things. So, I'm in a position right now where I'm just having these thoughts of, where do you go when you need help with something and you can't help? When you feel like you just want to have a respite and just be like, oh my gosh, in order for my health to be intact, I need to take a break. I used to have with my kids at the old school, the old college. I went back. The breaks were the same as my kids in public school, and we could go on a spring break, even if it would be like 2 to 3 nights in the cheapest hotel, just to get out of town, and have the drive and be able to eat at Dairy Queen. It's like, that was like the only thing that we would do. It was like, we weren't going to any regular restaurants, and it's still hard, cleaning up and packing up, and all that stuff is, but just be in a hotel room, sometimes meet other people, or be able to, a couple times went to the beach and just be in the water, and it's like, wow, this is magnificent. I can never make this ocean. I could never make this salty sea. We swam with turtles once. We didn't realize, like, did you see that? Did you see what I see? Or am I just, like, seeing things? Like, no, those are turtles. We were swimming with turtles. That was the first time I ever done something like that. I didn't even, it was like a mom and the babies or something. I was just, like, amazing, and then we never saw them again. Seeing the different birds, the sunset, it was just, like, me and my kids want to go so bad, and I'm on birth work, and I have not a penny, and I still am trying to get my malpractice insurance so that I can get into a clinic. I miss out, and even then, paying that money and then figuring out how to pay at a clinic, even then, it's like, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get customers or patients, and people had been begging me to call them when I get my license and ask them, can you still be my practitioner? You know, at the time I was a student, can you be my real doctor? We're not allowed to do. We're not allowed to take our patients with us, and it's just like, if it was only just those couple people, it's just like, just something to help put food on the table, you know. It's just so hard. It's just, I feel like I wasted my time. So yeah, I'm still transitioning. I threw this blankets on the floor, now it's really bothering me. I'm going through transition of being a graduate of naturopathic medical school to I just cannot stand having this stuff thrown on the floor like that. Like, that's like no reason. So graduation, and then I went to class right after, and then I miraculously, based even with all the stress, had ended up passing all my boards and delayed my jurisprudence to a later date, and ended up go ahead and getting that license at the beginning. It's a pro license, but the later you wait, you're pretty much just spending extra money, you know, and it's just like, it just ends up being, I knew that I was still training to be a midwife. I'm still doing births. I'm still doing office visits. And it's really hard because you're doing someone else's schedule. Like, the baby and meeting someone at a birth is one thing, but doing office visits around your own job and your own kids' school requirements, it just makes it so impossible. And then it's like, well, this person's giving me an opportunity to get my license. Without this person, I wouldn't be able to get my license in the future after I pass all the required exams. And then you're just like, they could easily say, this isn't showing up. I'll have to get somebody else. And then I would be like, oh shoot, now you can get a bad reputation and nobody wants to have you as a student, and then it is impossible to get your license, and then you're just going to be like, you wasted all this money and time for nothing. It feels like you would shoot yourself in the foot, but then it's like you have no days off, or you're always scrambling to change your appointment, or it's like, well, I actually was supposed to go to this to get some lab work done because I'm sick, but because you contacted me, I better go. It's just like trying to set boundaries and knowing most of the students are full-time. I'm half-time right now, maybe working a week, and trying to start a business from naturopath from the ground up. I haven't made a penny. I feel like a really bad businesswoman right now. I was like, this is really scary. And I'm not really advertising. I'm not in a clinic. I was going to do home visits and visit people, but then a lot of those people are homebound or disabled, and they can't necessarily. They don't really have the funds to just pay me $100 out of pocket for a 90-minute visit, or $150. And that reminds me, I got a call from somebody about that. I just realized something that I gotta make another phone call. But yeah, some people, I've gotten some calls actually, and I've made an announcement at Kwanzaa, a celebration. People are like, I want your business in my neighborhood, I want your business with my clients. But I think if I had lived in a house that I could run a business, I would be like, and right now it's allowed. People are like, oh, you should move to condo, you should just like, I really want to be able to do business in my home, and not all the time. If I could have an outside clinic, but it's like, what if it's one of those days like, oh, hey, it's someone I know, or it's a kid or someone in a wheelchair or something, they have a handicap, ADA accessible, facilities, like if I am a single parent and I did need to let a plumber into my house, or the yard guys were coming, or it's like, or I had to wait for a package. That's very important. Like, it's like you could be like, okay, meet me at my home clinic today, but next week we'll meet back at my regular clinic. Like, that's this, like, I'm just like, let me put it to you this way, and it's very interesting. I really enjoy the bot med classes, and I think it's kind of like one of those, like, just like they're not putting a lot of emphasis on herbs. Unless you're really into them, then you can join clubs, but it's not like a huge, like, herbal, it's like a mecca, like a mecca for herbs. Like, I think Sedona, like, as a retreat place, or the naturopathic community, it's like botanical medicine, but it's not necessarily. People have a hard time. People want to use supplements, and they want to use prescriptions, but they don't want to necessarily always use homeopathics and bot med, especially non-tinctures, which I use. If you want a tincture, I'll make you a tincture, or I'll order herbal, even food as medicine. Then that's what I want to do. Everyone else is doing the tinctures and stuff, and I like glycerides too. I want to save the liver. So it's one of those things where it's like they talked about synergists. They talked about a movie, like putting together the herbal formula as like a cast of a movie. You've got your main role, then you got your second backup character, and then you got your other supporting roles, and then you got this synergist. Like, you just, it's like everyone is not trying to overpower everyone, but it's like you've got this, like, okay, you want to do this, you want to do this. What is your objective? Somebody has a stuffy nose. What is your objective herbally? Like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And give a little bit of this. It could be something hot or spicy, depending on, unless they're already hot and spicy. Then you give them something cold and clearing and dry. It's just like, what is your objective? This herbs want to do this, this, and this, according to the specific person. That's why I like our herbal combinations. I can take a jar of something and put it together, and then for this individual under these circumstances, not just a template for everyone. And then, or it's not like everyone's not like cookie cutter where you get the same thing that I gave 10 other people. It's like you get what, unless that's what you need, but I would like to tweak it so it's perfect for you. That's what I do in my own homemade medicines I make for myself as far as botanical medicine. I just adjust it. And there's occasional things pre-made that almost, a lot of these products for their use are good, but I would use them more as a nutritional supplement, not as like I'm sick or I'm injured or there's a specific issue that's unique to me. And so that there's like two different planes there as far as that goes. And it just makes me excited just talking about it. I was thinking, I watch movies when I'm trying to calm down and focus and study and stuff. And I was like, it's one of my favorite movies, Bringing Down the House with Queen Latifah. That was my house cleaning movie. I cannot find it. I would watch that like one day, just start cleaning the house and be like so surprised because it just cracks me up, makes me laugh. I had misplaced it. I found it somewhere obviously. I don't know what happened to it, but it's like those things where you watch a movie, and besides the movie showing people, you can see this one where the dude's driving a fancy car, and he's got a fancy suit and an accent, and he's like got this clean cut hairdo, and he's got this watch that's like a Rolex or whatever, and he's in like some kind of California or some kind of Beverly Hills type place, and there's a wrought iron fence with guards. I'm thinking of some specific movies, and it's like you got the couple that lives in the house that pays the dude and pays the other dudes and pays the other dudes, and you're just like, that kind of stuff's really happening. People have enough money to do that kind of stuff. It's like, how did they get that money? It's like, they work hard, did they have family business, did they break? I mean, a lot of times people who win the lottery don't necessarily end up like that. Were they athletes or whatever? Pastors, TV pastors. And then, knowing that I enjoy watching movies, I only watch like old ones. If you watch a new movie at a theater, I don't know anything about it. And some of the newer library, I put it on hold, and then it takes like 2 years for me to actually get it. So then it's definitely still not new. So it's like one of those things where you take a step out of the entertainment part of being kind of like letting yourself be sucked into the movies, into the characters, and to, you know, oh, I wish I had a house like that. Oh, I wish my room was that big. Oh, I wish I had, you know, that type of kitchen and all this stuff. And then it becomes one of those things like, it cost somebody like $1 million to make that movie. It took them to hire a big crew and a bunch of actors and like go on the set, and, you know, they'd have to shut off streets and have police departments help, you know, with props and cars and, you know, police uniforms and restaurants. They had to use a certain restaurant for this scene, and it's like a famous place and a zoo or whatever, and it's just like somebody had investors or whoever. And I read one of my novels, they had sat down and they ran out of money right towards the end, and they were going to have to shut down. They were like and meditating and making phone calls until finally somebody who missed the call ended up getting a hold of them right when they were about to tell their whole team that this movie's done. Sorry, you know, so close to the end, they just needed to film a few more scenes, but it's like, we can't pay anyone, we can't, and there's some big time actors, like, we just can't pay anyone, we can't buy food, we can't do anything. It's like, that's a miracle, you know. That's why I feel like if I just keep the faith and keep asking God, then it's like all these stupid bills that stacked up and all this being sick and not being able to work, it's just like in this automobile accident, and it's so scary when you can't take days off or personal days or vacation days. It's so scary to not have those type of provisions set into your job, or, you know, and then people don't have jobs, people don't even zero. And so I'm at this place like a movie. Someone came up with an idea. Someone wrote a screenplay. Someone got turned down 10 times, and then someone else said, "Okay, we're gonna do this movie." You know, watching the behind the scenes with the dude from Star Wars or from Quentin Tarantino or something, and you see that, like, I had this idea, and then I did this, and then we went to Mexico, and then we did this, and then we did this, and then it's like, oh, we had all this money, and da 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 da, and it's like, oh, that guy probably lives in a nice house. I don't know, really, but they had an idea. Money was the issue, but somehow they got past that hurdle, and then they got a big team of people working together, and then they got some equipment and some props and some costumes, and they went on a set, and they had to deal with weather cooperating, and, you know, making sure that people were fed and the cars ran that were in the scenes. And just like, I just love thinking of the start, from the idea to the finished product, when the silver screen opens up and they're coming out for their whatever they see on the regular, they'll see it the day, whatever. And it's like, you know, same as, you know, my brother did a lot of plays, seeing them audition and have this dream, and someone else wrote this one, or something new, something old, something classic, and then these people got accepted to be a part of this team, and, you know, people are trained at different levels, are naturals, and then it's like you see them practice, and they're in their street clothes, and go in and dance and work out, and, you know, da 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 da, and maybe the director at you just because they want it. I've seen that with cool, that perfect. Every color of every prop of everything had to be perfect, and it was just like amazing that you just see this, you just stand up and applaud, and you're like, that was great, you know. And it doesn't even always have to be like, oh, that was such a good movie or good play, or this actor was so fantabulous, whatever. Fantabulous. But it was just like, sometimes for me it's just like someone had an idea, and they for them that was their genre at the time, and it worked for them, and they have an audience, and everyone likes different types of media. And so that's where I am. I'm like, can I have this idea as a licensed physician and be like, all right, I gotta get a team of people together, I gotta work this out, I gotta work this out, I gotta work this out, and just, and, you know, if I need funding for this, I may not have, it's like, I'm going to have to go dig through garbage cans and pick out cans if I have to, and bottles for 5 cents a piece. You know, it's like, oh, look, this is a piece of silverware that connects to a magnet. You know, it's like, maybe I could sell this for like 5 cents, you know. It's like, it's like 5 cents is more than 0, but we actually like to use silverware, and it's cheaper than buying plastic all the time. So I can sell that. But it's it's just one of those things where it's crazy. It's crazy not feeling. It's like when I was a kid, the parents, my dad had changed jobs after he had retired and was applying for another job. Like, you're not gonna have as much money as you used to, and I was like, I didn't notice a difference in anything. Like, we're not gonna be able to go buy clothes for school, and all. It's like, we bought clothes. I didn't notice anything, and I was like, that's weird. And that was the only scare that I had. Mom telling me that. But it's like, with my kids, it's like, seriously, it's like, when you bust out those pants and can't pull them up past your knees, then we'll replace. It's like, and you know how to sew, so can you just like trim down the sides and sew some more on them? It's like, well, usually it's the other way around. It's like one kid wears the other kid's clothes that are too big, and then they shrink them down. It's like, but I've hemmed stuff that was too long, but the right width, and then unhemmed it so they can wear it later instead of cutting it. It's like, oh, I was like, we're getting a lot of years out of these one pair of pants. It's like, we'll take in the waist, fold up the legs, sew them, and then when in 5 years from now you undo the waist and you undo the legs, and hopefully they still fit you. That's how I've been. People talk about being frugal. Like, that's how I've been with my kids. And I used to be like, I gotta get the kids' shoes two sizes big, and then they can wear 2 pair of socks. And people are like, man, you're gonna mess up your kids' feet. And it's like, if I don't do this, they're not gonna have shoes next year. At the end of the school year, they're not gonna have gym shoes, and they're gonna end up failing gym class. It's just like, someone was trying to buy our shoes. I was like, we're getting them 2 sizes. So no, you need to have someone measure. I was like, I never done that before. They don't wear shoes that fit. It's cheaper to buy 2 pair of socks and wash them than it is to have to replace a pair of shoes in 4 months. And so it's just like, it wasn't like this when I was a kid. My mom was busy. We didn't necessarily buy shoes and all the time because she was busy, or she didn't believe the fact that my foot actually grew so fast. I had huge feet, and she didn't understand that my feet actually placed. And ended up having foot problems. I had to go to a podiatrist and a doctor, and I was like, oh. So I had that fear of kids having too tight of shoes. I was like, and then I ended up getting my daughter these shoes. Oh, no, that size can be too small. And then you get it like 1.5 size too big, and she's like, Mom, I hate these shoes. I can't even wear them because they're too big. And I'm just like, sorry. It's like I was too cheesy and too cheap to mail order. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I messed up. Like, I just really didn't want you to outgrow them. They're so nice, and I can't afford to just replace them. And I just felt like such a jerk because I just should have just got the ones that fit, And so I have a problem with that. But just seeing somebody's idea go from start to finish, it makes me inspired. And I see some people in life they have these goals that are big dreams, being a farmer, doing these. You have somehow found finances, and a lot of times people have spouses, they can come up, it's like, oh, we're low on money right now, but we both get paid in a couple of days, and we're getting paid thousands of dollars, not tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars. It's like, and it's like, sometimes it's like the more you're like, well, we have a good income and this, so we can have debt, and the bigger the debt, then the more our monthly loans. So it's like, it could be, it's best to not do it with debt, but sometimes it's like, all right, for me, I'm almost 40. It's like, how many decades more am I going to wait to do my dreams? And a lot of them, it's a stop sign. It's like, there's no way around it. There's no way to jump to my goal right now. And there's a lot of, giving up. Like, for instance, I want a clinic. I wanted to try to share a clinic. I want to try to do this clinic that's out 45 minutes from my house. I want to try to get a clinic that's like, there's the buildings that are triangles that I call, my kids call cheese buildings. You see them all over around here too, and they look kind of awkward, and you're like, if someone could make that ADA, I would totally rent it. It looks like so cheesy that it can't be $1,000 a month, or it can't be over $1,000. And I was like, I don't have $1,000 a month, so I'm not going to be able to. And it's probably going to need new carpet or paint or something. You know, it's like you got to go in with a few grand if you're going to get, even if it's only $600 a month, and then you got to spend like 3 months getting patients, putting out signs and going and doing talks and free, you know, hors d'oeuvres or whatever you want to do. And then it's like you still don't know. You can get, it's like, oh, I got 10 years. Okay. This month, did any of them come back? No. But one said they might after they get this job where they can actually pay me. It's just like, I won't know until I do it. So I'm not giving up. I'm making phone calls. I'm looking on Craigslist. I've seen a lot of stuff. People are like, this guy's a ripoff. Don't do this business with this person. Trying to go in and meet people, and then off the phone they're all great, and then you're like, they're like, oh, tell me what you want. This is my house. This is my clinic. Da da da. And you contact them and say they don't respond to your available. It's just problem. Like, I don't want to harass someone. It's like you feel like if it was like a mutual, like, oh, I like this person, they like my clinic, let's call each other, you know, and one calls the one and the other one doesn't call back. I feel like maybe they don't like me. I noticed that a lot in this side of town, being black over the phone. They didn't recognize I was black. Told them everything about my life story. Like, it's like, we can pay. I always work, always go to school, we can pay. And it's like, I can pay you in advance if you want. It's like, if you don't trust, and you get to their house to rent it, and they're just like, they see a black woman getting out of the car in this, they call it highly desired neighborhood, which means we don't want you here. We don't want your type in this highly desirable neighborhood. And that's what they're like, turn right around and get back in your car. Good luck. And that's, I did that 7.5 years near my kid's school to keep from having to pay daycare for 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. And they're just like, turn around. We can't take your kind. And over the phone, they were like, oh yeah, we don't care. You don't work full time. We don't care that you do this. We don't, you know, it's just like, they want to be white and drive in a Subaru, and they want me to have a cute little dog from the Humane Society and a cat and be like living with a partner. That's what they want to see get out of that car. They don't care about my credit score. They don't care that I pay my rent in full as a single mom with no child support, putting myself through medical school with no support and no, you know, it's just like I said, it's pretty sad that people that can bust their butts to try to make the best for their kids' lives end up living in slum type conditions because of that. And we live in a place that's, everyone here is black. Everyone is from Africa or from Middle East or Hispanic. I don't mind. The only thing that I change is a small space. There's a lot of people, a whole bunch of kids in there, different culture. They don't, like, for me, you know, it's like upper middle class upbringing. It was just like, all right, when you're a kid, when your kid wants to play, you drive them to the playground or to the park, and you play with them, or you play tennis with them, or you send them to lessons. You send them to swimming lessons. Send them to sailing class. You send them to lessons or clubs and Girl Scouts. And it wasn't just like, all right, you've got 10 kids or 4 kids or 6 kids. Just let them play outside all day and scream and jump on the neighbor's car and throw rocks at people's windows and try to break them. Break mirrors, side view mirrors. It's just like, I don't understand that type of culture where it's just like anarchy. And I don't want to complain because I could be living in I lived in a more dangerous place where there's a lot of police activity, shootings and murders, gang activity, and a lot of there's a lot of domestic violence stuff everywhere, but that's the place I lived at before. And I had to get out. And I also shared walls with people for the first 6 years after I left my ex. Started out houses in a homeless shelter. So this is the first place we have our own walls. So that's why I don't want to complain. But it's just like, I wonder what it would be like to live in a neighborhood with sidewalks, in a library you could walk to, in a bus line where you felt safe, where you're not around all these strip bars and just people. Heroin really is what you see when you're walking. Needles in the bushes, people smoking stuff in the bushes, watching you, because it's not wooded. It's like open. They see you. They know what time they walk. What time people go to. They know what time people go to school. They know what time the kids walk to the city bus. It's like, what if I could live somewhere where there's the little old lady, that desirable neighborhood, who's like, watch, something's not right. They call cops on me because there's a black person driving through their neighborhood. And it's like, no, don't look at someone who's black. Look at someone that's busting in your neighbor's car, whatever color they are, or trying to get through someone's back screen door with a sledgehammer. It's like, that's who you look at someone who's actually committing a crime, not just some stereotypical person, just because, you know. And I always wonder what it would be like to live in a neighborhood where the kids are actually allowed to roller skate and ride a bike, where I could ride a bike and roller skate and not be breaking the rules, where I could wash a car or grow a garden without breaking the rules, where I have more than 3 flower pots on my front porch, where the sun actually shines, instead of having plants in the back and don't grow this tall that's been growing for 3 years. Thank God it's still alive. But it's like, it's supposed to be in full sun, and I can't, you know. It's like, could put it on the porch, but people pick stuff, and they pick the flowers because their parents don't teach them that's someone else's property. But it's like, I feel like my kids are almost grown, and I may never have that desirable neighborhood where you feel like you could go outside in your robe and walk your dog and not have the whole neighborhood like, what's she doing? 10 people like staring you down. It's just like, mind your own business. It's like, just people get up, go to work, walk the dog, There's trees enough to hide you, you know. What would it be like if I could have a raised garden bed and grow tomatoes and grow a bounty of them that I could share, instead of being like, oh, there's one, and now it's gone, because the grubs got it overnight. Oh, there's one tomato growing on a bush. Or no tomatoes growing on a bush. In the winter, maybe they'll grow. It's just like, and like I said, I don't want to complain. It's just I wanted more for my kids before they grew up. Like I said, even being able to have a tire swing. We don't always get what we want. And I could be living where there's somebody downstairs smoking crack. Like, they were smoking crack and dealing dope out my front door and smoking it. And that's the only reason I bought a fan. And it's like, what, you know, we got away from that. We don't live in that, and let's not go back. Let's just keep moving forward. Let's, you know, here, Africans and the Middle Easterns, where you feel safe with your kid. You know, there's not the safest place. They still want to act like gangsters. A lot of people, not individuals, not the group. Individuals do. They're spitting and cussing all day, talking inappropriate stuff. It's like, you can play with your friends, and I can see you out the window, and I can sit out there and listen, and sit on the porch and monitor you. It'd be worse. It's like a place where you can come in. If you're out too late, I can be like, shoot, get your butt in here. It's a curfew. It's quiet time. And instead of having to be like, oh, my kid's driving around with some weirdo at 12 o'clock at night coming from some party from who knows where. Like, so I have to keep that in mind, that there's enough community here that they don't have to leave the property. It's just to make sure that we've had some places where we live where kids were being raped, not here, by other people's kids, because they were unattended, and the people trusted each other a lot. So it's like, you still got to be careful, but it's like, claim your, you know, kid, or, you know, I just did the simple thing, letting the kids sit on my porch with chairs, because most people do not have chairs on the porch. I'm American. I like chairs on my porch. Like, there's a porch here for a reason, not just to wipe my feet on the way in, but I like to sit and watch sunset. And it's like, I hear the girl sitting on the porch and the little kid sitting on the porch. I try to dust it off and sweep it and everything, and then it's like, it's like, you just feel so happy to be, it's like, oh, I wish they could come in and play video games. I'm studying, I'm not cleaning, I'm not, but it's like, let's make that, it's outside, let's have the kids come and sit on the couch and play video games and watch movies. And I just had to straighten up, you know, and have them sit on, you know, we gotta replace the chairs, they got moldy and broken. It's like, just pay $30 to get some plastic chairs that you can bleach and wipe down. And I don't use bleach, but wipe it down. I bleached some chair once, because I was thinking of cleaning before people came, and then some lady sat in it with her pants, and I might have ruined her. I was trying to do, like, extra clean. I was like, this is stupid. But yeah, it's like, I would love to be able to have them, I was like, let them come on a care they chatter about. It's fine. They're safe. I know where they are. We can go out after them drinks and stuff. You know, they were making milkshakes to try to hide it from the little kids sneaking over the fence and everything. But it's like, I just talked to myself and reminded myself that we don't live in a horrible place. It is loud. I got better grades living here than I did anywhere else. So I have to shut up. It's like, sometimes it gets so loud. It's like New York City. It's like, fine, it's so loud that it's like, you gotta totally ignore it and ignore all the people staring at you and just don't go out in your pajamas. It's like, don't go out in your underwear. It's like in some places where I grew up in the Midwest, it's like, oh, you're so rural, like, it doesn't really matter. There's so few people that one or two people see you like that, they'd be like, not able to forget that image for the rest of your life, but there's too many people. So I see people out here in their robes all the time, and some of them are religious. That's like, you know. So I'm gonna go because this video is too long, and I'll just do what I can to make it the best place, and I'll do what I can. Accountability Club. I heard from. I'm expecting it to come in the mail. I'm surprised nothing got sent to my emails, but I'm in a position right now where I just finished 3 tests, and then I had a class, a neonatal resuscitation class yesterday for 4 hours that we had to pass. A, to get license, B, to pass the class, and I made it to class, made it on time, made it through the whole class, passed all the parts, got the car. I was like, phew. I don't know if I passed the test for the class. Like, I passed the test for this class, but I don't know about the actual class, childbirth, 12-week childbirth class. I still have 6 more weeks left. I think 5 more weeks left. So I'm just like so grateful. I'm gonna tell you guys for Accountability Club, I'm trying to like, gotta do this, I have a timeline, I gotta get stuff done. If I don't, I procrastinate. But I think I need to take a step back and keep getting stuff done. I think not work myself all freaked out and be like, I got to pay bills. That's when stuff like that happens, I know that I am overwhelmed. But just get more organized, clean up, let myself enjoy it. You know, spending time with a guinea pig who's lost half his body weight and is not eating, which is freaking me out, and just let myself really, get through all these times, and realizing that I am single, and I did just go through medical school, repeating my undergrad career because my classes were too old, and being like, God help me, whether or not I remember the church, I didn't let go of God. I didn't let go of my scripture here. And let's just picking this up. God told me to put these tabs on there years ago, and I never did until like a couple weeks ago, literally. And I was like, yes. I was like, nah. It's like beating that spot of the video game. It's like, okay, God, you told me to do that 3 years ago, and I procrastinated. Oops. When God tells you to do something, you do it. And so many times I'm like, oh, like earlier I was supposed to make a phone call. By the time I made it, the place was closed. Oh, Central Time. Shoot. You know, and it's like, now I gotta wait. That was for the insurance. So now I'm like, well, maybe I should get that 3rd quote if I'm gonna be, you know, like that, you know, and maybe it's a sign, you know. And so with Accountability Club, I'm going to compete with my classmates who already got licensed before I did, who are working as residents, have their own clinics. Somehow they can't own the money to open up a clinic or find themselves places or clinics. I should just be like, you got 6 weeks left of class. You got to study your butt off. You got to get back to work. And hopefully they don't let me go for being flaky and getting sick. and being mad at them because they made me cancel these appointments, and I should have stamped my foot and said, hey, my hours are 9 to 1, this is what I got hired for, I have appointments that week, you're going to have to find someone else. Like, I tried to help them. They had the ability to close this whole work area, the workplace down, and when people are they're closing it down, and I should have stood my ground and say, maybe in 2 weeks I'll be able to work at that time, but you're going to have to find someone else. You're going to have to open up, or you're going to have to close it down, because this is very important that I take care of my health. And it's very difficult when your hours change drastically and suddenly, and it's just trying to pick up the pieces of everything. So I'm gonna take a step back. I told myself while I was in the kitchen earlier that I was gonna pray and be like, will you try to control things? God has a timing for you, and He has a plan for you, and things have to go in this proper order for it to be the most fruitful for you. If you try to push it or do the wrong thing, like that dude in the Bible, he was old, and she let the handmaiden get pregnant with the dude's baby because they were having a baby, and God told them, no, you need to wait. And it's like, they're all old and elderly, like, she was like freaking out. Like, my I was like, let's dress her up, and then they got all jealous, got in a fight, and then they kicked her out, and then they had this, then he ended up with 2 sons, because then he actually got the son that he was promised, and it's like, God said that He was going to give them something, and that this is their goal, and they freaked out, and they worked on it themselves, and tweaked things, and messed up, and then they end up having to fix a big mess that shouldn't have had to been fixed, and they still got their goal, but there's always going to be this mess, and that's a reminder of, in the stories, of what I'm trying to do by manipulating the situation on my own instead of asking God. Just asking God to remind me, hey, it's your timing, not mine, and that if I burn myself out and end up like convulsing because it's like the robot, it's just like it keeps going, it's like burned out of circus. It's like, well, there you go. Now you're not gonna do anything, and it's just like, it's like, to actually wait and be patient, and even if I'm 100 years old and I'm like, I finally got my first patient, it's like, the biggest thing today was fear of lack of money, and I said, it's not that I'm going to quit a job, it's not that I'm going to work towards my goal of being self-sufficient, it's not that I'm going to be, sitting here going back and forth like, should I pay the money for a lawyer to get child support for 3 years for one kid and 4.5 for the other, like, I don't know. It's like, is it worth to pay $1,000 and something? It's like, there's no free programs out there to help me. It's like, why don't I just figure out how to think what's in the house and not have to try to spend out more money for money I may never get. Obviously haven't got it for 10 years, and it's court ordered, and the system doesn't care. So it's like, why should I exert more energy and time in that when I did everything I could in court to do that? So it's like, well, if I just take a step back and then just really have that faith that, hey, God, you're going to provide for us. And if you tell me to apply for extra 2 pizza, just food in the hospital as a part-time, then I need to do that. And if I have to take a break from my training or my education, I need to do that. And so far, I felt like, hey, I was a student for 10 years, full-time and working part-time, similar to now, but it was more classes with less work. Now it's more work, less classes. More classes means paying more money, which means also debt. Going to work means less debt and actually getting paid and kind of evening things out and starting to chip away at debt. So that's a positive thing, and I'm not used to. I've been a lifetime student, just working part-time the whole time through high school all the way up to now. It's just, there was 4 years I had off with my kids, but I volunteered during that time because I was nursing the whole time that I didn't work, and pregnant. When I was pregnant, I couldn't get a job. It was like really bad morning sickness. But yeah, it's like one of those things where sometimes it's just like, dear God, please provide for us while we get our finances sorted out. Please guide us to somebody somewhere, like a huge, beautiful clinic with state-of-the-art furniture, all flat screen TV. It's like, if I could have that kind of fridge for my house, I'd be like, dinner, party, I'd be like, kids, we are having something. Like, I don't care if you gotta eat, like, hot dogs for dinner. Like, we all live in large. Like, I'd be like, taking pictures all the time, and like, look at my nice house. But it's like, I can do that. If I declutter, I can do a good job with the house we have now. But it's like, blah. But yeah, it's like, somehow she got the money, she came up with the money and the plan to do this, and I don't know if family helped, or family helped with a lot of it, but it's like, it's none of my business. But it's like, I know in my heart that it's possible, and I feel like if family was more supportive, it would be easier. And if I had a supplemental income that was high, some people have, they do $1,000, and they don't have kids, and they don't have to live in a bigger place where you have 2 teenagers in separate bedrooms. So it's like, everyone's different, everyone's at different circumstances, and I gotta realize I gotta follow God's plan for my life, and they're doing their plan, whether it's theirs or God's, and that it's not my business. It's just, if it's possible, you can never own a clinic, you can never do that, and it's like, I'm not one of the 23-year-old medical grads, or 26-year-old medical grads who just got married to some dude who makes a lot of money and that already live in a 5-bedroom house and bought another house, and have 2 houses, and rent, people have 2-3 houses, and, all these different cars, and they got nice clothes and nice food and gym membership. It's like, I don't have that amount of resources, but I'm just like, I have my health for the most part, and I'm trying to maintain my health and trying to set a good example for my kids without driving us crazy by being so poverty stricken. So it's just like a big, it's like trying to burst out of a socioeconomic place that I'm in. Like, my family raised me out of the socioeconomic poverty, and then I got myself put back in it, and then because I'm an adult, my dad is no longer responsible to help burst me out. It's like, if I could just get, it's almost like, sometimes people like, oh, we're not going to help those that don't help themselves or whatever. Like, I just want to be one of people that's just like, can you just ask somebody and pop in there, able to do a somersault in the air. It's like, they wouldn't have been able to do it on their own unless someone bought them a tool, like a bouncy, springy thing. But it's like, it just takes, it's like, I'm not doing the somersault for you. I'm going to exert some energy and some time and sacrifice in order to just give you that boost. And that boost is like, you came this far. It's like you ran down the track and then you had to jump on someone's hand and they boost you up, and then it's like, you got it, you got the gold, I feel like I'm right at that point where I'm like, who's gonna give me that little jolt that is just like, I just need a support. I just need one more support. And it's like, right now, as far as humans, I haven't got it, and I need to just ask God to do it in His timing, and to just take care of my family and pray for me and my family, my kids, and my household, including my pets, which one is very sick, and I'm very uncomfortable. I want immoral pets. It's like, no, don't get me watching pets. But I thought I did everything I could to keep this guy healthy, and now he's sick, and it could be my fault. But rodents don't live forever. It's like, he's already like a 7-year-old rodent. Like, come on. You got a few more years. Come on, you're only like halfway through your life. We'll see. I'll let you know how that goes.